Imagine this, an army so vast it seemed to cover the earth itself. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers stretching across the plains, gold armor flashing in the sun, war drums echoing across the land. This was the might of the Persian Empire, and standing against it, a fragile alliance of Greek city-states, outnumbered, divided, and one defeat away from extinction. This is the story of the battle that decided everything. 1 year earlier, Greece had achieved the impossible. At the Battle of Salamis, a smaller Greek fleet had lured the Persian navy into narrow waters and destroyed it. It was a humiliating defeat for the Persian king, Xerxes I. Fearing further losses, Xerxes withdrew to Asia, but he did not abandon the war. He left behind a powerful army in Greece, under one of his most capable commanders, Mardonius. Mardonius was not just a general, he was strategic, patient, and dangerous, and his mission was clear: break the Greek alliance and finish the conquest. Mardonius understood something critical. The Greeks were not united. Sparta and Athens were often rivals, city-states that were naturally suspicious of each other. If he could divide them, he could win without a fight. So he tried diplomacy first. He offered Athens peace, protection, power, even influence within the Persian Empire, but Athens refused. So Mardonius changed tactics. If Greece would not submit to Persia's will, it would be broken. So Mardonius marched south with the Persian army and captured Athens. And once again, the city was burned to the ground, then abandoned and left devastated. This was meant to send a message that resistance was pointless. But instead of breaking Greek morale, it did the opposite. It forced them to unite. Because now there was no turning back. For perhaps the first time in history, Greece stood together. Sparta, Athens, Corinth, and many others. An army, tens of thousands. At its core, the Spartan hoplites. Elite soldiers, disciplined and relentless, led by the Spartan regent, Pausanias. But this was not just a Spartan army. The Athenians brought experience. Other city-states brought numbers. This was a coalition, and everything depended on it holding together. Because if it fractured, the Persian Empire would win. The two armies met near Plataea, a landscape that would shape the battle. To one side, open plains, perfect for Persian cavalry. To the other, rugged hills, ideal for the Greek infantry. And between them flowed the Asopus River, a natural barrier and a lifeline. For days, The armies faced each other, neither side willing to make the first move, but tension was building. Mardonius began to apply pressure. His cavalry moved constantly, harassing the Greek supply lines. He wanted to cut off their food and tried blocking access to the water. The Greeks held their position, but slowly they were being weakened. Day by day, the situation became more desperate for the Greeks. They could not stay where they were, but moving would be just as dangerous. So Pausanias made a decision. The army would withdraw under the cover of darkness. They would regroup at a stronger position. It was a calculated risk, but in the chaos of the night, everything began to fall apart. Units became separated. Orders were misunderstood. Some forces moved too early, others moved too late. By sunrise, the Greek army was no longer a single force. It was fragmented, disorganized, and vulnerable. And to Mardonius, this looked like a retreat. And that appeared to be a perfect time to attack. Mardonius saw what he thought was victory. The Greeks were running. This was his moment. Without hesitation, he ordered a full attack. Persian infantry surged forward. The cavalry advanced. Archers prepared to unleash chaos. This was meant to be the final blow. But this would turn out to be a grave mistake. However, the Spartans had not fled. They had regrouped, and now they turned to face the attack. And what followed was carnage. Persian arrows rained down. Cavalry charges thundered across the ground. But when they met the Greek line, everything changed. The phalanx held, shield against shield, spear against flesh, disciplined, immovable. Persian soldiers who were lightly armored could not break through the Greek defense. And then, in the chaos of battle, Mardonius was struck down. The death of Mardonius shattered the Persian army. Leadership vanished. Confidence collapsed on the spot. And what had been an organized assault turned into confusion. Then it turned to panic. And this resulted in retreat. The Greek forces pushed forward relentlessly. The Persian camp was stormed, and this led to the Persian army breaking before the Greeks. And by the end of the battle, tens of thousands of Persian soldiers lay dead. The survivors had fled, and their invasion was over. On the same day, Greek forces achieved another victory at the Battle of Plataea. Together, these battles ended the Persian Empire's attempt to conquer Greece once and for all. Battle of Plataea did not just decide a war, it shaped the future of the world. Because if Persia had won, Greek culture may never have flourished. No democracy in Athens, no philosophers like Socrates or Plato, no foundation for Western civilization as we know it. This was more than a victory. It was a turning point in history. At Plataea, Greece did not just survive, it proved something greater. Unity, discipline, and resilience could stand against an empire and win. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most important battles, make sure to like the video. Leave a comment on what you would have done if you were in Mardonius' position. And subscribe for more stories that shaped the world.